Good afternoon, everybody. G Bear, homesteading the desert. To start off, let's say Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Christmas, New Year's. It's just got to be great for everybody. I'm sure it will be. I want to wish everybody. I've been getting hundreds of Merry Christmas wishes through the comment section, and I appreciate every single one of them. Merry Christmas back to everybody. I don't think I've missed responding to anybody, but I do want to say Merry Christmas off to the get-go. Here we are looking at the back porch. I got the 2x4 base in. It's all, well, it's not level. It actually drops a 1/4 of an inch down this way across 4 feet. So if any water gets on it, it runs off. Now you can see I had to dig quite a bit in here, and this is all hand digging. My machine wouldn't fit in between the cabin and the posts. So I had to hand dig everything. I've got it all screwed together and anchored and squared and ready. And then up on top, I put my 2x2s for my drip edges, and then I got my 10-foot piece of metal track from the metal studs to cap the ends of my rafters. I don't have to worry about termites getting into those. And if I do close this in, I will be sealing all of those eave areas right there so that I can grow plants in here, and I can also sit out here in the summertime on the hot nights with the bedroom door open, and I don't have to worry about bugs getting in. So I'm going to build a wooden screen door for the outside there. So this will be a screened in porch mostly. I was going to put glass windows in here and do plants in this corner. I may not do that because if I have people over, I'll need the room to put some chairs out here for everybody to sit outside and relax. And I've got the light up there already so I can light this. And if I've got it screened in, I don't have to worry about bugs getting in. So this will probably be a screened porch. Although this side here, I may put shutters on it so I can shutter it off, because the wind comes from the back of me right where I'm standing here and blows through this way most of the time. And I'd like to have that wind block in there so that we don't get blown away on the windy nights. But on the calm breeze nights, I can let the breeze flow through. So those are some of my plans for this. And I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to have to move. That means disassembling, taking down my water tanks, draining those out into another barrel, taking everything down, disconnecting it from the ground, because I've got 3-foot steel stakes going into the ground, screwed into the 4 legs so the wind wouldn't ever blow this thing over. But I've got to get that all out of here because the ground here is higher than the porch. And I don't want to be flooded with a torrent of rain coming down here, going right across my porch and towards the back door. And I did drop it 1.5 inches lower than the mud sill. So that's that piece of plywood I told you I got from the cull lumber for 70% off. That's not going to stay there. I just put it there so I can walk out of the door without tripping over things. And I put the ladder here so I remember not to go that way. I'll only usually be going out that way anyway, towards the outhouse in the morning, or going out to the van for something. Anyway, you notice that I filled in all of the area down inside of there, almost all the way up. I don't want it to come up to where it touches my plywood, but I do want it to be pretty full under there. That actually works as a dam, so that if water does come up against the front of the porch, before it can go underneath, it's going to want to go out. So I'll be putting a concrete swale in that comes out around here and takes the water out the front. And then I'll figure out, maybe I'll put a little fish pond or something in over here, and I'll just let the water run into the fish pond, and I can pump that out into my rain barrels when I need to. But that's what I got done today, and got everything set. I've got all my measurements, so I can go get my roof sheathing. I've got my roofing paper and my shingles and 80-pound roll here. All I need is 4 sheets of OSB, because I'll put 1.5 sheets goes on the roof, 1.5 sheets goes down here, and I made this a little bit wider than 4 feet. 4 feet would have ended right at the face of the 4x4, this face down there, and I came out a little extra, so I'm going to have to put a strip on there, but that's okay because the whole thing is going to be coated over with epoxy like I did to my front porch. That held up really well. And I'll also seal it against the foundation. Now, that piece of pressure treated 2x4 up against the foundation, that's all shot in to the foundation itself with concrete screws. Concrete screws are blue screws that are designed to make threads in concrete. So you pre-drill a hole with a mason bit and then shoot the concrete screw in there, and it grabs right onto that concrete, solid as can be. And they're pretty much rust proof. They've got a coating on them that keeps them from rusting. So those are pretty much lifetime once they're in. And then of course the fascia on here, the face piece, is not only shot into each one of those floor joists, but it's also anchored into the 4x4 posts. So that locks everything together. Nothing's going to move here. All right, that being said, let's move on. I've got to show you a few more things that I want to get in here today. One of the things I was thinking while I was working here is some of the people that follow me on this channel are planning on homesteading themselves in the future, and they're getting tips and hints from me. So it's about time I start giving some good tips and hints. One thing is, if you can get an ATV and one of these buckets, these buckets are sold by Walmart, and so is the mounting unit that goes underneath it. You have to put a winch on. If you can do something like that, do it, because this little thing saves you a lot of back-breaking work. The dirt that's in here right now, of course, is just the stuff I took out of there with a shovel, and I didn't want to just stack it up here and have to move it again, so I threw it in the bucket, and I'll haul that away tomorrow, I guess, or the next day. But an ATV, 4-wheel drive. Don't get a 2-wheel drive, get a good 4-wheel drive. The Rancher AT by Honda is an outstanding machine. These things are bulletproof. I mean, they are strong as can be. And this is a 440cc. It's got plenty of power. It's got a switch between 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, all of that. Okay, that's a top of the line of the tools that you would have to get here. Of course, a trailer for hauling stuff. If you don't have a pickup, even if you have a pickup, you might want to get a trailer for that longer stuff. So if you have really long boards coming out of the back of your truck with the tailboard down, it's okay if they overhang the trailer, because the trailer will protect cars from banging into them. All right, moving on down. We're going to come around here, and some of the construction or garden tools that you will use quite often here is, number one, square shovel. You're going to use that for grading and cleaning out your animal pens and all of that stuff. Okay, so you want to have a square shovel. You also want to have a spade. This is a spade. Yeah, I know it looks a lot like a square shovel, but the sides don't curl up. They're flat. And the bottom of that is perfectly straight. So you can cut straight lines in the soil with that, or you could cut arches and things like that. You will need something like that. Point shovel. This is a point shovel. I prefer the ones with the long handle, not the D handle like this. Having a D handle and a point shovel is great if you're going to be digging a tunnel somewhere. But if you're digging out here and you're trenching, you want to have that long handle so you don't have to bend over and break your back all day long. So I have two of those. I have an older one there that I'm going to oil up the handle on here pretty soon but I got this one with the fiberglass handle. Those things hold up really well in this type of weather. So we got the square shovel, the spade, and the point shovel. Then a trenching shovel. This is a trenching shovel. It's 4 inches wide at the bottom, and it's got a perfect shape so that when you're holding it in your hand like this, you're almost level at the bottom. So this is great for burying pipe irrigation or water pipes, wires, conduits. You don't have to dig a big wide hole. You only need a little hole just big enough to get your conduit down in there. So you should have one of those. And again, long handle, not the short D handles. You want long handles on those shovels. D handles are great on the spade and the square shovels because you work with those mostly down low or scooping stuff up. So those are fine for that. But when you're digging, you want to have the longer handles. Rakes. Okay, you want to have rakes. This is a steel landscape rake, and it's got the extra long steel shaft on there, so this could be used as for moving hot asphalt if I had to. That's not why I got it. I got it because it was left behind on one of the sites I was cleaning up, and the people said, get it out of here, so I hauled it away. All right, regular landscape rakes like those up there. I've got a few of those. This one here is bent a little bit. It's a little cheapo. I use that a lot for mixing cements and concretes in the wheelbarrow. It does a great job with the tines going through the sand and the rocks and stuff. But you also could get a hoe. If you're going to get a couple of hoes for your gardens, this is a concrete mixing hoe. It's got holes in it, so when you're mixing, the concrete and the cement or mortar can go right through there. I wouldn't use this for large stone concrete because it'll just jam it up. But for mixing mortar, if you don't have a cement mixer, you're going to be mixing it in your wheelbarrow, and that's the next tool. Wheelbarrow, like that one down there. You want to have a wheelbarrow. I prefer the plastic ones for out here because the steel ones are just going to rust in no time at all, and I want it to last, so I go with the plastic one. All right, next, sledgehammers. All right, this is a 2-pound sledge. Short handle. This is great for driving stakes in the ground, so forth and so on. Then I have the big 16-pounder, the Aruga one here. This is great for breaking up concrete, rocks, whatever, smashing them. Next is a pick. You're going to have a couple of picks. This is a pickaxe. This has the flat blade on one side, and it's got an axe on the other. This is great when you're working around bushes and shrubs and trees. You're digging up and you got roots to cut, you can cut them with the axe. The other kind is inside the shed. I'm not going to go in there for that now. And that's a point pick. That's got a point on both ends. It's like the ones you see the 7 dwarfs carrying when they're coming back from the mines. They got the pick with the point on both ends. You should have one of those for digging in trenches and things like that. Those are great for getting around the rocks. All right, last but not least, for this episode, bars. You can't live without your bars. This is a pry bar, and this is about 4 foot long. It's got a nail puller on both ends, and it's got this curvature there. That's great for really lifting heavy items. If you need to get it up in the air a little ways to slide something underneath, that leverage right there is so easy for one person to move something. The other side here is great for when you're digging down around stuff. You can poke down in there and this won't wear you out. It's not that heavy. Then you want the big bar. Okay, this one's got a flat end on it and a pointed end on it. This is great for digging and trenching and moving stuff. Now you can see I moved that old back step that used to be over there by the bedroom door where the new porch went in over to here. This is my battery room. And now I have a nice step to go in and out of the battery room instead of a little piece of wood that I used to step on and sometimes almost fall off of. So now I got this in place, and I dragged it over here with the ATV, pushed it into place, but I couldn't get the chain under it unless I had this bar. You put this bar under there, you put a little block of 2x4 under there, and you lift it up, and you'll be surprised at how easy a big chunk of concrete like that will come up in the air. Then you can slide your chain under there. Okay, the last bar is a short bar. Okay, this one has a top on it to where you could actually hit it with something if you had to, and it's got a pointed and a bent end on it like that. Now this is great for getting down between hard packed rocks. You can drive it down with your 2-pound hammer in between the rocks and then pry them apart and work them up. So that's another tool. That one's not really totally necessary, but I use it quite often, even for moving small items. All right, that's about all for today. I'm going to go in and get ready to do my Christmas Eve dinner. I hope Santa is good to everybody. I think I've covered everything on the list here. And let me do a quick glance over here. Yep, that's about it. The only other thing I have to remind everybody, if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up down there. If you haven't already, please subscribe and click on the share and send it through email or text message to one of your friends. Say, check this guy out. And subscribe if you can. Now, one of the other things I wanted to mention was I was going through my analytics sheet on YouTube, and I noticed that out of all of the people who watch my videos, nearly 58% of them are not subscribed. Your watcher, 58% of the people, or nearly 58, I think it was 57.9. 58% of the people out there are watching my videos but are not subscribing, and that's not a really you're not required to. I'm not going to say you can't watch my videos if you don't subscribe, but I'm saying please do subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button. If you don't want to get bothered by a bunch of future videos, don't click on the bell, but do subscribe. It helps out a lot. Only 36% of the people watching my videos are subscribers. So, or nearly 36. I think it was 35.7 or something like that. So please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your brothers and sisters to subscribe. And if you see Santa tonight, tell him to subscribe. I'd love to have him on my channel. That's all for everybody. My Christmas cactus is beautiful when it's lit up at night. I added one more light behind the star so it lights the star up at night. I'm not going to be able to show you that tonight because it is Christmas Eve, and I want to get to bed early so Santa will come. G Bear signing off.